What if I suggested that your most frightening nightmares aren't merely random manifestations from your subconscious, but genuine encounters with beings from other dimensions? Edgar Cayce, the most extensively documented psychic in America, conducted over 14,000 readings that uncovered something astonishing about our dream lives. During his trance sessions in Virginia Beach, he revealed that nightmares serve as spiritual battlegrounds, where your soul confronts forces from realms beyond our physical existence. Before we explore these remarkable insights, be sure to subscribe and activate that notification bell, as what you're about to learn will fundamentally alter your perception of your sleep experiences. Share a comment below if you've ever had a nightmare so intense that it felt entirely real. This evening, I'm excited to share 3 astonishing insights based on Cayce's recorded readings. Firstly, we will explore how nightmares act as spiritual evaluations that influence your soul's development. Secondly, I'll discuss the precise methods Cayce provided for safeguarding yourself against sinister forces during dream interactions. Lastly, I'll present documented instances where individuals' nightmares remarkably foresaw future occurrences, demonstrating that these experiences go beyond typical awareness. But there's even more remarkable information to come. In reading 294-136, Cayce elaborated on a woman's persistent nightmares of drowning, noting that they were not mere arbitrary fears, but rather recollections from a former existence in Atlantis, where she met her end during the Great Flood. Her subconscious was working through trauma that extended across several lifetimes. What Cayce disclosed, which even astounded his stenographer Gladys Davis, was revealed during a session in 1932. He depicted the spirit realm as comprising various levels, with the lower planes inhabited by entities that thrive on human fears and negative emotions. As mentioned in reading 262-89, these entities can affect our dreams when our spiritual defenses are compromised by feelings of anger, resentment, or despair. This transforms our entire perspective on consciousness while we sleep. Dreams are not merely flickering films in your mind. They represent genuine spiritual journeys where your soul explores various dimensions and interacts with authentic entities, some of which are good-natured and others malevolent. Allow me to introduce you to James Morrison, a New York businessman who sought Cayce's guidance in 1928. Morrison had been tormented by nightmares in which a shadowy figure pursued him through interminable hallways. He would wake up feeling drained, as if he'd spent the entire night running. In his interpretation of 3744-1, Cayce indicated that Morrison was being chased by the earthly spirit of a man he had harmed in a past life. The disturbing dreams would persist until Morrison sought forgiveness through prayer and helping others. But here's the intriguing detail that will astonish you. Morrison took Cayce's suggestion to heart, started volunteering at a nearby hospital, and within weeks, the nightmares ceased. Even more astonishingly, Morrison later found out that the hospital was constructed on a property that had once belonged to a man named Thomas Fletcher, who passed away in 1887. By researching historical documents, Morrison uncovered that in a past life, he had been Fletcher's business partner who betrayed him, stealing a significant fortune. You might think this sounds unbelievable, but just wait until you learn about the verified case of Sarah Williams from Ohio. In 1934, Sarah started experiencing nightmares about a devastating earthquake obliterating a coastal city. The dreams were so intense that she could actually smell the smoke and hear the cries of people. Every night, the same disturbing apocalyptic image haunted her dreams. When Sarah's family took her to Cayce in Virginia Beach, interpreting 1152-11 uncovered something remarkable. Sarah wasn't simply experiencing random dreams. Her spirit was gaining prophetic insights into the 1935 Long Beach earthquake, which would claim 120 lives. Cayce clarified that especially sensitive individuals occasionally receive premonitions of impending calamities while in a dream state. This raises a fascinating question regarding the essence of time and awareness. If nightmares have the capacity to reveal future occurrences, what does this imply about the constraints of our conscious perception? In writing 37:424, Cayce explained that the Akashic Records, an immense repository of all human experiences, can be reached during sleep. At times, what we identify as nightmares might actually be recollections of past lives or visions of potential futures that our higher consciousness is attempting to ready us for. This is where things become particularly intriguing. Cayce indicated that not every nightmare is a detrimental experience. Certain experiences serve as spiritual initiations aimed at bolstering your soul's determination. In rating 136-18, it was noted that confronting and conquering fears within dreams develops spiritual strength, which benefits you in your waking hours. Take, for instance, Dr. Robert Henderson, a doctor based in Atlanta who reached out to Cayce in 1939. Henderson was plagued by nightmares in which he found himself conducting surgeries in a rudimentary hospital amid wartime. The dreams felt so vivid that he would awaken with trembling hands, as though he had truly been operating on injured soldiers. Analysis of 1567-2 indicated that Henderson's nightmares were essentially training him for his upcoming role as a field surgeon in World War II. His subconscious was being guided by his higher self, readying him for events that lay 2 years ahead. Once Henderson was eventually drafted and deployed to the European theater, he encountered scenarios that mirrored the very procedures he had dreamt of. However, there's an even more intriguing aspect regarding how Cayce comprehended the dynamics of nightmare experiences. In Reading 294-50, he elaborated on the concept that during sleep, our spiritual essence has the ability to traverse into other dimensions. These are not merely symbolic odysseys. Instead, they represent genuine experiences in which consciousness briefly departs from the physical body. When you find yourself experiencing a nightmare of being pursued by a creature, Cayce might suggest that you're actually facing a thought-form entity residing within the lower astral realms. Such entities are drawn to emotions like fear, anger, and other negative feelings. Although they lack physical forms, they have the capability to affect our dreams and even our conscious thoughts if we lack spiritual protection. This is where Cayce's pragmatic insights proved to be incredibly valuable. He didn't merely identify spiritual issues, he also offered concrete solutions. In Rating 26289, he outlined precise steps for safeguarding oneself during dream interactions with malevolent beings. To begin, prior to falling asleep, visualize and pray to envelop yourself in white light. Cayce notably suggested the Lord's Prayer as a strong protective barrier. Additionally, keep a glass of water next to your bed and infuse it with positive energy in your mind before consuming it when you wake up. This aids in eliminating any adverse influences encountered during dream journeys. Furthermore, and this is essential, keep a positive mindset throughout the day. Cayce emphasized that negative thinking can create vulnerabilities in your spiritual aura that malevolent entities may take advantage of while you sleep. By nurturing feelings of anger, fear, or resentment, you are, in effect, extending an invitation to parasitic spirits. Allow me to present a recorded instance that illustrates these concepts in practice. Margaret Foster, an educator residing in Richmond, Virginia, experienced disturbing nightmares in which shadowy entities attempted to drag her into sinister hallways. Each time she awoke feeling exhausted and melancholic, as if her vitality was being drained. In reading 20-6671, Cayce disclosed that the source of Margaret's nightmares stemmed from her own pessimistic thought processes. She had been nurturing grudges toward multiple co-workers and felt bitterness over her professional setbacks. These harmful emotions had compromised her spiritual defenses, leaving her open to astral parasites that thrived on negativity. Cayce outlined a detailed healing regimen. Every morning, Margaret was to dedicate 15 minutes to meditation, envisioning herself enveloped in golden light. She needed to forgive those who had hurt her, not for their benefit, but to cleanse her own spiritual paths. Most crucially, she was to conclude each day by reflecting on her thoughts and feelings, intentionally letting go of any negativity before going to sleep. Within a month of adhering to Cayce's recommendations, Margaret's nightmares ceased completely. In addition to this, she shared that she felt more vibrant and hopeful than she had felt in many years. Her co-workers observed this transformation as well, remarking on her new glow and upbeat demeanor. What makes this situation especially noteworthy is that Margaret maintained a dream journal during her recovery journey, recording the evolution of her nightmares from frightening confrontations with ominous figures to serene dreams encompassing spiritual guides and healing energies. It seemed that improving her mental and emotional well-being had truly altered the nature of her dream encounters. This leads us to one of Cayce's significant observations regarding nightmares and spiritual development. In rating 37442, he noted that difficult dream experiences tend to arise during times of spiritual advancement. Just as resistance training strengthens muscles, the soul builds resilience by confronting and surmounting fears within dreams. However, it's important to differentiate between nightmares that facilitate spiritual progress and those that signify psychic assault or spiritual frailty. Nightmares that encourage growth often involve facing personal fears or overcoming challenges with bravery and resolve, ultimately leaving you with a sense of empowerment upon awakening, despite their frightening nature. Conversely, destructive nightmares are characterized by feelings of being overwhelmed by external forces, a sense of helplessness, or witnessing gratuitous violence without any constructive intention. Such dreams can leave you feeling drained and uneasy, frequently carrying emotional remnants into your conscious hours. As Cayce points out, the primary distinction lies in whether you preserve your spiritual identity throughout the dream. In nightmares that promote growth, you essentially remain yourself, confronting challenges using your inner strengths. Conversely, in harmful nightmares, you may feel utterly overpowered and detached from your spiritual core. This is where Cayce's insights become especially relevant for contemporary Americans grappling with stress and anxiety. He believed that numerous nightmares are, in fact, mirrors of our conscious thoughts while awake. If you're persistently anxious about finances, health, or your relationships throughout the day, those anxieties can surface as distressing dreams at night. The answer lies not in repressing these concerns, but in changing them through spiritual techniques. Cayce advocated what he referred to as spiritual housekeeping, which involves regularly assessing your thoughts and feelings to uncover and eliminate negative patterns before they turn into nightmarish experiences. Take, for instance, the notable case of William Chen, a factory worker in Detroit, who sought Cayce's guidance in 1931 during the Great Depression. Chen frequently experienced nightmares centered around the fear of losing his job and the prospect of his family going hungry. These terrifying dreams were not only vivid, but also occurred so often that they instilled a fear of sleep in him, ultimately deteriorating his work performance and heightening his chances of real job loss. While discussing the matter in reading 1265-1, Cayce elucidated that Chen's nightmares were reflections of his daytime anxieties intensified by his subconscious. However, instead of disregarding these dreams as insignificant, Cayce encouraged Chen to perceive them as spiritual teachings regarding trust and faith. To aid Chen, Cayce recommended a specific mental discipline. Every night before going to bed, Chen would visualize himself and his family enveloped in abundance and divine safeguarding. He was encouraged to recite affirmations regarding God's provision and his capacity to tackle difficulties. Most crucially, he was to consciously affirm his spiritual strength at the conclusion of each nightmare, taking control over the fear-induced situation. The outcomes were extraordinary. Not only did Chen experience a gradual reduction in his nightmares, but his confidence while awake also grew significantly. He started to take the lead at his job, proposing enhancements that drew the notice of his supervisors. After 6 months, he earned a promotion along with a salary increase. Later, Chen communicated to Cayce that conquering fear in his dreams had empowered him to seek out opportunities in his daily life. This example highlights a key principle in Cayce's teachings: the deep connection between the spiritual realm and physical reality. What transpires in your dreams doesn't remain solely in that realm. The spiritual triumphs or setbacks encountered while you sleep have a direct impact on your waking awareness and life situations. However, here's a revelation that will expand your understanding of the profound enigmas of consciousness. In his interpretation of 37.441, Cayce explained how enlightened souls can utilize dream states to assist those grappling with nightmares. He referred to this process as dream healing, asserting that spiritually advanced people could extend their consciousness into another individual's dream to provide support and direction. This isn't a tale of science fiction. It's a form of spiritual technology that was passed on by Cayce to his most trusted students. The technique encompasses profound meditation, visualization, and a genuine wish to assist others. The dream healer enters a trance-like state, sends their consciousness to the individual requiring help, and manifests in their dreams as a guide or guardian. A notable instance recorded in the ARE archives features a woman named Ruth Patterson from Norfolk, Virginia. Ever since her near-fatal boating accident, Patterson had been plagued by persistent nightmares of drowning. Traditional therapy proved ineffective, leading her to develop a growing fear of sleep. During a meditation group at the Cayce Foundation, a few seasoned participants chose to try dream healing for Patterson. They engaged in profound meditation, envisioning themselves enveloping Patterson in a shield of protective light, and focusing their intent on assisting her in overcoming the trauma of her nightmares. That very night, Patterson had a radically different dream experience. Rather than succumbing to the depths, she was saved by multiple luminous beings who led her to safety and instructed her on breathing strategies to conquer her water-related anxiety. Upon awakening, she experienced an intense feeling of tranquility and healing that she had lacked since the incident. Most notably, Patterson later encountered one of the dream healers during a Cayce study group and instantly identified him as one of the light figures who had assisted her in her dream. She recounted his features and the particular phrases he had communicated, which he verified as elements of his meditative visualization. This example illustrates that consciousness functions based on principles that go beyond our usual grasp of space and time. Your dreams are not merely individual, disconnected occurrences. They form a component of an extensive web of awareness where spirits can engage, educate, and mend collectively. Allow me to unveil what Cayce disclosed regarding the prophetic aspect of nightmares, which will transform your perspective on your personal dream experiences. In his reading from 1968, he noted that unsettling dreams frequently act as alerts concerning possible future situations that can be circumvented through mindful decisions and spiritual readiness. The crucial aspect is developing the ability to differentiate between prophetic nightmares and those that merely reflect fear or trauma. Prophetic dreams often include particular details regarding locations, individuals, or occurrences that you've not encountered while awake. These dreams frequently possess a distinct quality compared to regular dreams, exuding a clear sense of urgency or significance. Consider the documented instance of Eleanor Martinez, a homemaker from Phoenix, who reached out to Cayce in 1938. Martinez experienced nightmares concerning a fire that would devastate her neighborhood. She was able to observe particular homes engulfed in flames, hear the wailing sirens, and detect the scent of smoke. The dreams felt so lifelike that she would awaken and immediately look for real fires. While reviewing 1734-3, Cayce verified that Martinez was experiencing prophetic glimpses of a possible future occurrence. However, he stressed that prophecies do not represent unchangeable fates. Rather, they serve as alerts that enable us to take preventative measures. He suggested that Martinez discreetly inform her neighbors about fire safety and make sure her own residence was adequately safeguarded. Taking Cayce's advice, Martinez arranged a neighborhood fire safety meeting and assisted several families in setting up smoke detectors and fire extinguishers. 2 months later, an electrical fire erupted in a house just 3 blocks away. However, thanks to Martinez's preparations, the fire department was alerted right away, and the flames were managed before they could extend further. This situation highlights an important principle. Nightmares are not designed to render us powerless, but rather to equip us with the knowledge needed to avert hardship. Your subconscious mind, linked to the universal consciousness via the Akashic records, occasionally obtains foreknowledge of possible dangers or opportunities. However, this is where it becomes particularly fascinating for your personal spiritual growth. Cayce explained that as you progress spiritually, your nightmares will eventually shift into instructive dreams, providing insights from beings of higher dimensions. This transformation isn't instantaneous. It demands a deliberate effort to elevate your spiritual frequency through practices such as prayer, meditation, and altruism. In the analysis of 2629, Cayce outlined the evolution of dream consciousness as a soul makes spiritual advancements. Those at the beginning level may encounter dreams aimed at addressing personal karma and facing individual fears. As students progress to an intermediate level, they start to receive insights regarding their life purpose and spiritual abilities. At the advanced stage, students often act as conduits for healing and prophecy, utilizing their dreams to assist others. This progression sheds light on why certain individuals naturally appear to have more uplifting dream experiences compared to others. This is not just chance. It stems from spiritual advancement that aligns with higher frequency dimensions while we sleep. The practical significance of this insight is immense. Rather than being afraid of nightmares, you can see them as chances for spiritual evolution and growth. Every difficult dream situation provides an opportunity to exercise bravery, kindness, and spiritual empowerment in a risk-free setting. Allow me to present one last example that illustrates the profound role of nightmarish experiences in the evolution of the soul. In 1936, Thomas Bradley, a Chicago businessman, reached out to Cayce regarding troubling nightmares in which he faced judgment from a council of entities concerning his business practices. Within these dreams, he experienced intense guilt about how he interacted with his employees and competitors. analyzing document 1456-1, uncovered that Bradley's nightmares served as messages from his higher self, urging him to harmonize his business approach with spiritual values. The tribunal in his dreams was not there to punish him. It revealed to him the way his actions looked from a spiritual viewpoint and offered him a chance to redirect his path. Taking the dream to heart, Bradley initiated profit-sharing schemes for his team and embraced more ethical approaches in business. As his daily actions began to reflect his spiritual beliefs, his nightmares shifted into dreams that provided insights on how to grow his company in ways beneficial to the community. In just 2 years, Bradley's business flourished significantly, thriving not in spite of his ethical adjustments, but as a direct result of them. His commitment to integrity drew in superior employees and fostered a more loyal customer base. Above all, Bradley expressed a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment that had previously eluded him. This situation illustrates how nightmares can often act as reminders from our higher selves. Rather than being punishments, they present chances to realign with the authentic purpose and values of our soul. As we wrap up our exploration of Edgar Cayce's insights regarding nightmares and the spiritual dimension, keep in mind that your dream experiences hold much greater importance than is usually recognized by society. They aren't merely random brain activities. Instead, they represent genuine spiritual encounters that can offer healing, direction, and protection. Each evening, as you shut your eyes, you're stepping into a boundless realm of awareness, where your spirit has the chance to evolve, learn, and engage with dimensions that lie beyond the material world. Nightmares are not merely hindrances to a restful night. Rather, they serve as avenues for spiritual growth and heightened consciousness. If you find insights from Edgar Cayce's teachings enlightening, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with others who are exploring a deeper comprehension of consciousness and spiritual existence. We invite you to comment below about your personal experiences with nightmares and how this understanding may offer you a new perspective on them. The realm of spirits exists, and your dreams provide one of the most immediate avenues to encounter this reality. Embrace Cayce's insights to convert your nightmares from daunting experiences into chances for spiritual development and heightened awareness. The progress of your soul relies on your readiness to confront darkness and turn it into light.